Hey everybody, out here scouting out and mapping my trap line for the season. It's October 5th. We're getting some cold weather now. The trails are starting to pop a little better. They're only going to get better from here on out, but it's time for me to start getting these things mapped out. I'm trying to show you some of those subtle trails, the ones that in my opinion a lot of people overlook. It's pretty windy out here today, guys, so I'm going to do the best I can, but if you look down there, there's a small bridge. 5-6 years ago, I would have drove right to that. That's exactly where I'd have headed to. But I've picked up a few things since then. I've learned a lot on what to look for. There's key factors that I say everyone needs to focus on. Your high points, your low points, your fence lines running to the roads, any single power pole out in the middle of the open, every lone tree out in the middle of the open, any landmark that stands out that's tall. These are where the raccoon are crossing, as well as other animals. I want to stop right here. I'm a long ways from that bridge yet, but last year this field to my right was corn. It's all beans this year, but right here where this timber meets this fence line, there was a massive trail that went down across the road over to this mature woods. I'd have to look back at my notes, but I want to say I caught 10 coon here. It was just a phenomenal trail. This year it's not here because it's beans. I expected there to be a little something, but there's really nothing there. But also on the way down to this bridge, kind of about where that crooked power pole is, last year I caught a bobcat and a coyote in a snare. That's be my next landmark. There's a low spot right here, but it's right next to a driveway. So we're gonna go down there right before that bridge and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Alright guys, here we are. We're right on the edge of a hayfield pasture type deal and a pretty large mature timber. We were just up here on top of the hill with the last video. Right down here is a trail where everything running this edge is crossing. Last year I caught that bobcat and coyote here in a snare. It's kind of hard to tell, but it goes right underneath the fence right there. Definitely a coon trail, but everything's gonna run this. It's just a phenomenal trail. I didn't know about this a few years ago. Matter of fact, this whole road is a piece where just 2 years ago, instead of going right at an intersection, I went left. Found some pretty good stuff. I encourage you guys to do that. You get in a habit of taking the same route every time. Change it up. Instead of going right, take a left. Just see what's out there. You never know. Right up here is that bridge that I was showing you. Up there on top there's a lone tree. And that's definitely something that we need to look at. Those big boars like to run those ridges, and they're always crossing by these landmarks. But going back here, I like this trail. I'll take my GPS. We're gonna go to Mark. If we can see it, get all the sunlight here maybe. Gonna go to Mark, number 32. I've already been doing some scouting today. And I'll okay that. Then I come in here on my notes, and right here on the 32, I'm gonna put one snare on the left side of the number. That way I know exactly what I have where. This system works really well for me. So anywho, I'm gonna write that down and we're gonna head up here to the bridge and take a look. Alright guys, here we are underneath that bridge. Just kind of what I'd consider a standard bridge. A guy could put a blind set maybe right here by that pillar. Most of the traffic's down here on this side, running down. I don't get too creative with this stuff, guys. I literally will probably just throw in 2 or 3 dog proofs in here. You know, I could make pockets on the steep banks and stuff like that, but 95% of my line is on dry ground. You'll definitely see that throughout this season, but I just want to stop, show you the bridge. This is probably one of the higher bridges that I actually trap. I bet I don't have 15 bridges on my road line. It's not many. But we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go up there and show you by that lone tree. We'll see if there's something by there. There should be. It's a ridge and a landmark. There definitely should be something running it. Here we are at that lone tree on the opposite side of the road. we got a nice long fence line that runs all the way down the edge of a cornfield. We're gonna go ahead and walk up here. I would almost think for sure we're gonna have some kind of a trail. And there is. It's not extremely prominent right now, but you can definitely see this trail. Goes up right next to that little shrub there. Goes right up to the base. Not a crazy heavy trail, but it's definitely something you can pick up a coon or two on. Those are the spots that I think a lot of people are overlooking. It's not a crazy great spot, but you can pick up a coon or two here. Find those spots where you're getting, you know, 8-10 coon, and fill in the rest with these subtle spots of 1, 2, 3 coon throughout the season. You know, if I have a spot that catches 8 coon, it might be another 2 miles before I get to the next spot that's that good of an area. But if I can find 15 or 20 of these on the way there, you know, I'm still picking up more coon here than I would on those really hot spots. Pan down here a little bit, we got a low spot with corn, we got timber, and even before that we got a lone cedar tree here kind of out on its own. We're gonna drive down there, check that out, and see what we got. Yeah, sorry guys, we didn't make it down there to that lone cedar tree. Matter of fact, we are only about 10 yards from that lone tree on the top. But glad I'm slowing down the video because I actually found this trail that I've never seen before. It's actually a really nice trail. Curves right up and goes into the timber up here. Well, not really timber, but just little shrubs on the edge of that cornfield. It's a really good looking trail. Definitely something to set on. I mean, we didn't drive but 10 yards, and these trails like this, we're in southern Iowa, so we're what I would almost consider coon capital of the world. It only gets better, in my opinion, a couple hours west or a couple hours east of me from central Iowa. But these trails, there's a lot more of these than people realize, I believe, and I think people are driving right past them. So that's what I'm kind of trying to show you. We're definitely going to set this one up. We're going to get it mapped out, but we still got to get down here to that lone tree, that bottom down here. And up there's some kind of lone trees that stand out along a cornfield, so I'm sure we got something going on there too. So we'll get up there and see what we got. Alright guys, we're down here on this low spot. There actually wasn't much of a trail by those cedar trees, but if you look, right up there's that lone tree that we're just at, and we got 2 spots up there real close to that. Come back down here, and this is kind of a dried up creek system. Last year there's about 1.5 feet of water in it. But if you look close, you can actually see the Raccoon trail in the rocks. This is a spot that's pretty decent. You know, I can't say what I'm gonna catch here, but I can kind of guesstimate over the years of how these things have done. I'll probably pick up 4 or 5 coon here throughout. I'll set this line for probably 5 days, maybe 6, depends on how it's producing. So, you know, between going up here and where that lone tree was, you know, we might get a couple coon there, 2 or 3 at that other spot by it. You know, and with this spot, we're up to almost 10 coon, and we went 200 yards through a season. You know, it's give or take. I can't say that's what it's going to be, but it'll be in the rough area of that. This is probably one of the better spots. It's not a great spot, but it's good. I mean, definitely good. Basically, all it is we got timber going across to timber with a cornfield. They love the corn. If you ever have a spot with timber crossing over to a cornfield, find those little runoffs, the watersheds the farmers leave in, and there's going to be a trail going up to it almost every time. So, but this is, I mean, it looks good. I'm getting pretty pumped up. I love seeing these trails start to come in. Gets me pretty excited. We're gonna go up here. We still got that cornfield on the left, timber on the right, and some lone trees. So we're gonna go up here and check that out. I'm pretty optimistic about that as well. So, and again, that's maybe 100 yards from where we're at right now. So we'll get up there and see what we got. Hey guys, we're up here by these lone trees. It's kind of funny. Always check both sides of the road here. I just walked around over here on this side for couple minutes and looked everywhere I could, and I just could not find a trail anywhere, and I was about to give up. But I walked over to this side, and it's kind of hard to tell, but there's a really nice, easy coon trail going right through here. And matter of fact, it's right underneath the cedar tree. Go figure. But anyway, you got the timber over here. You've got a cornfield on the other side. I knew there would be something here. Sometimes that proves me wrong. Once in a while, there won't be anything there, no matter how hard you look. I don't know for whatever reason why, but I would say roughly 90% of the time, there's going to be a trail there in my area. You know, this isn't a huge trail. It's not one of those, what everyone talks about, that muddy path, that muddy trail. Something that dawned on me with that whole muddy path thing too. I've got a couple of those I set on that I'd only pick up 1 or 2 coon. And I couldn't figure out why. It looks so good. This has got to be just awesome. Well, if you look, generally those muddy trails, they come out of a culvert. That means that raccoon was in the mud, in the water, and as he walks up that trail, he's just leaving that mud. It's just like tracking going inside the house. I mean, my wife kills me if I do that. But every time that happens, they track more and more and more. And on a lot of those muddy trails, if you look close, there's actually grass underneath them. It's just there's so much mud from them walking on it. Which, don't get me wrong, they're good trails and you're gonna catch stuff there for sure. But there's a difference between the trails that look muddy based on them tracking mud over the grass and the ones that are just pounded down to dirt. I'm sure we're gonna run across some of those. I'll try to point one of them out as we go along here. But anyway, this one, it's a decent trail. You know, I expect to pick up a couple coon on this for sure. We are not that far. Yeah, that bottom back behind us, where we had that dried up creek bed, 150 yards at most. So we're making our way down the line, just 100 yards at a time, basically. So we're gonna go up here to the intersection, take a left, and see what we got.